Daytona and Talladega. I hate those places. I hate those tracks so much. They scare the living out of me.
Well, I hate Bristol, so yeah. So welcome to the group.
Hey guys, it's Samantha Busch. I'm your host of Certified Oversharer, and today we have Julia Piquet on. You might see her on pit road. She is the stunning fashion icon standing next to her husband, Daniel Suárez, but today we get to know about her. Growing up in Brazil, she is a health and wellness coach. We get to hear all about their love story and what comes next. So stay tuned. This is a great one. Well, I think we're going to start this off with a shot. So we've got some big racks here. It's tangerine vodka. Hope you're good with that.
Let's do it.
I'm going to mix it with a little poppy. So I will take your glass and we are going to get ready to overshare.
All right.
I also love that you texted me and you're like, let's start with a shot.
Let's start with a shot in true Mexican fashion.
All right, let's do it. If
All
I
right.
can get the cap back on. There we go.
So we'll do a little toast, okay?
I'm ready.
So repeat after me.
Okay.
Pa arriba,
Pa arriba,
pa abajo,
pa abajo,
al centro,
por centro,
adentro.
adentro.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
Salud. That's good.
That's very good.
You're like, let's overshare now.
That's good.
So I want to get right into it. I want to talk to, we can start, since we started in Spanish. Obviously, I know when you guys met, you met through racing, but there was a language barrier.
There was.
So please tell me, I want to know, like, how you guys met, how you did that language barrier. Was it love at first sight? Like, give me all the details.
It was not love at first sight. We actually met back in 2012 through my brother Nelson, who used to race in NASCAR. And at the time, it's funny you mentioned language barrier. I mean, it was an absolute barrier. He didn't speak almost a word of English, and my Spanish was non-existent, even though at the time I lived in Miami. You'd think I would have picked some up, but no, I didn't. So I was in Miami, and it was spring break of 2012, and I wasn't planning on coming to Charlotte for spring break. Wasn't exactly my idea of
Sounds
what
like
I
the great
wanted
destination.
to do. Wasn't my plan A. I actually wanted to go to Europe to visit girlfriends because I just moved from there. And
Yeah, because people don't know that. Do you want to tell them, like, how
My
you moved?
background?
Yes, because
Yeah.
I think that's very fascinating, and also I think it has to be a culture shock to be from there and then Miami, which is like my second favorite city.
Yeah.
To here. So before your love story, I do want to give people the background of where you were.
So it's pretty unique. I mean, I was born in Germany. My mother is half German, half Dutch. My father is Brazilian, but I was born in Germany and didn't stay there very long. My mother just had me there. And then I grew up in Monaco. I lived there for 14 and a half years.
That's incredible.
And then at 14 and a half, I moved to Brazil to go live with my father, whom I visited every year. I would spend 3 months out of the year in Brazil anyway, but my mom wanted to make a change. She wanted to move to Holland. I wasn't so happy anymore in Monaco, and initially I wanted to go with her to Holland. She's like, I think you should go and live with your father a bit. So moved to Brazil, went to high school in Brasilia, the capital. And once I graduated, I moved to London for a year. I did like a pre-college course. And then in middle of 2011, I moved to Miami to go to University of Miami.
That's incredible. Like, you're already so traveled.
Yeah.
I would say, like, back in those days, I had been to like Indiana and Illinois and Florida. We drove to Florida.
But you know, the thing is, when you live in Europe, you have so many countries that are at hand's reach. The US is such a huge country. I mean, you could travel across it and, you're still kind of sort of in the same culture, same language and everything. And in Europe, you're just surrounded by all this culture and languages and all that. So if you're from Europe, it's so normal to be exposed to all these other different languages
incredible.
and countries and all that.
So then you're in Miami. You come to spring break in Charlotte.
Come spring break in Charlotte. Well,
Wild destination.
I called my dad and I said, can I go to Europe? I want to go see my girlfriends. He threw a fit. He's like, you're not in the U.S. to go traveling around and this and that. I'm like, fine, I'll go visit Nelson then. So I come to Charlotte for a week. And at that point, Nelson was racing in the truck series, I think. And Daniel, I think, was doing like ARCA, maybe K&N. But through a friend in common, Daniel and Nelson were friends. And Nelson has a huge heart. He took Daniel under his wing. Speaking Portuguese, he obviously could communicate with Daniel. It's just less of a language barrier. And my brother would always throw these like big parties, and he'd have like drivers over and like, the mechanics and whatever. And at one of these house parties was when I met Daniel. And he was very quiet, and, it was not much interaction there. It was just kind of like hi and bye, and that was it, really. But that's when I first met him. And I think I, saw him a few times after that. And then we lost touch, basically.
Yeah, you went back to Miami.
I went back to Miami. When Nelson stopped racing in NASCAR, which was somewhere around 2014, I stopped following because, I didn't have a horse in a race.
Right.
I mean, it didn't really interest me anymore. So I kind of missed sort of like the rise of Daniel, and winning the championship and all that. And then out of college, I started working for a company called motorsport.com. And so I did some reporting and would go to like different races, and his name would pop up, right? Because I would like, report on headlines or whatever. And I kept thinking to myself, oh, it's so cool. Like, he's doing so well for himself. And then in January of 2019, I was sent to Mexico City to cover the Race of Champions, which Daniel was one of the drivers.
Yeah, we did
there.
that one year in Miami.
I think Miami, yeah. So this year was held in Mexico City. So I got there, I think, on a Friday. Saturday was a bunch of like practice rounds and heat races. And then I think Sunday was like the grand race. And I remember having, doing some prep work ahead of the weekend. I had a list of drivers that were going to be there, and I recognized his name. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Daniel's going to be there. So I interviewed him on Saturday. And after we finished the interview, I remember telling him, like, oh my gosh, your English is amazing. Like, I didn't remember that at all. And we laughed about it.
Now, did he tell you, because he's told Kyle in the past that he watched, I think, like Mickey Mouse or something, like
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, some cartoons to learn how to speak English.
That's how he learned, like watching cartoons. Because he says, in cartoons, like they articulate well because it's meant to get kids to kind of start talking. And that's, all he could do. He didn't really have money to afford classes or,
Remind me,
tutors.
I have a funny story about that later, that Kyle gave Daniel's advice to a prisoner. So I will tell you that story after.
So on Saturday night, there was like the official after party of the event. And I really was not going to go. I mean, I don't know how I ended up there. Someone convinced me to go. I ended up going on my own, which, I mean, if you know me, it's completely not like me. I'm total introvert, don't go to parties that I don't know anyone, much less on my own. But I ended up there and I saw him and we started talking and we just talked the whole night. We're sitting on the couch for 3 hours. And that's how it started. I mean, we exchanged numbers, we kept in touch. He came to visit me in Miami 2 weeks later because at the time in 2019, you had, I think, the Clash, the Busch Clash, like the race before the Daytona 500 where you go to Daytona and you would stay there for 10 days.
Yeah. They still had it together all in Daytona.
Right.
And it was the week before. Yeah.
Right. And so it was his last weekend off before either the Daytona 500 or the Busch Clash, I can't remember. And so he's like, oh, I could come down to Miami. And so he did. And, we had a great weekend and we started dating from then on.
I love that.
Yeah.
So then you were still in Miami. How did you end up in Charlotte?
Well, 2019 was a crazy year because we started dating and you know how the NASCAR schedule is. Mm-hmm. It's every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I was working during the week. So I was like, how are we going to make this work? So I would basically travel to the races every weekend. And then I would, on Friday afternoon, or I'd take half the day off and travel at lunchtime, go with him, meet him wherever he was. We would take the plane. At the time he was with Stewart Haas. So we'd take the Stewart Haas plane back to Charlotte on Sunday night. And I would take the first flight out on Monday and go straight to work back to Miami. And we did that all year.
Oh my gosh.
And it was insane.
Kyle and I did similar but different. I was in college my senior year when we met, and I did the same thing. I had my classes done on Friday afternoon. I would fly out and meet him wherever he was, and then either leave from that track or come back to Charlotte and leave to get to Monday morning class. And we did it for a year, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And so in 2020, we were like, beginning of the year, we're thinking, okay, what are we, am I going to move? Like, what?
Yeah, we need to make a decision. Like,
we need to like figure this out, because I don't know if I can do a whole other year of that. Even though I loved it, it was like draining.
Yes.
So we made the decision that I would move to Charlotte, and this was before COVID hit. So lo and behold, COVID hits, and I was, we're still going to move forward with this move. We actually drove down from Charlotte to Miami, packed up all my stuff in a week, and then like drove back up and had the moving trucks like meet us.
Wow. And is that in the middle of COVID or before COVID?
Middle, like it was April 8th. So it was like smack bang in the middle.
So now you go from like living apart to not only living together, but locked down together.
Locked down together.
So you're getting to know each other real fast, real well.
Yeah. But honestly, I will 100% take that over being alone like locked down on my own in Miami.
1000%.
I think back to what that could have been, because like a lot of people don't realize it, but Daniel and I don't really have family here in the U.S. I mean, at all. Like all we have is each other. And because of COVID, I went 2.5 years without seeing my parents.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was able to travel back to Brazil, but I ran the risk of not being able to come back to the U.S. And so I couldn't take that risk. I was, on a work visa at the time, and there were so many unknowns, and I just couldn't risk it. So I went so long without seeing them. That was really hard.
I didn't realize that your brother and sister are they in Brazil then?
My sister is in Monaco, and my brother's in Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys really are the only ones here.
Yeah.
How is that? Like, is that hard on you guys not to have family close by, or do you get to see each other often now?
I would say,
because you just went back to visit your family.
Yeah, I just saw my sister in Europe, and my mom's actually coming over in a week. So, I mean, I would say 2-3 times a year I'll see my family. But I wouldn't say it's hard. I'm used to it, actually.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've always been separated from one parent or the other, just because I was
and traveling
living
a lot.
with one or the other. And then from 18, when I moved away, I was always kind of, like, very independent and doing my own thing. So it's a lot harder on Daniel, I would say, because he's always been, like, such a tight-knit, like, family unit with his family. But they come and visit, and we'll go to Mexico twice a year, so we make it work.
That's awesome. And so then you guys obviously got married, and then you're thrown full-time into the crazy NASCAR life. And how is that for you? Because I do want to go back too. Like, you obviously have always been very independent. You had your own job. You had all your own stuff. And so how, as somebody who knows kind of what it's like to be in the sport, how was that transition for you?
I mean, I would say since 2019, I've been doing the NASCAR schedule. So this will be our 6th, 7th year of doing it. So not much of a transition in that sense. But it's, I mean, it's a lot. Like, I mean, I love it. I love traveling every weekend. I love being with him. I mean, I'm not just there on race day. Like, I'm out with him on pit road for practice and for qualifying, because I love it so much, because it's something that's always been in my family.
Right. Like, you grew up doing this.
Well, my dad, used to be a race car driver.
Yes.
My brother grew up a race car driver. I have a couple of other brothers who also are in racing. And I love it so much. I always knew that I would have some kind of connection to racing. And it's funny that my first job out of college was, in the racing world as well, covering it. But I wouldn't have it any other way. But when it comes to the end of the season, you're like, oh my God, I just want to be home for a weekend,
Well, I also wondered how it was. So I found it interesting going from, being in college, having a lot of friends around, like being very independent. And then I always kind of struggled with, then you were just like, driver's wife. And I was like, no, like I still have my own ambitions and hobbies. And I always felt like Kyle was good about being like, yeah, keep going in that. Like, did you feel that too? Like I always wanted to travel with him and support them, but I also wanted to always, you know, still have that, like still be independent in my own right as well.
Yeah. So, and that's a good question because, you know, I let go of a job that I really liked to be full-time here in Charlotte with Daniel. And so, as a matter of fact, I did struggle with the transition of, okay, so now I'm here. What am I going to do? Right? Because I love being with him and traveling with him, but I was like, I need to like feel like I'm fulfilled professionally as well. And slowly I started doing stuff with Daniel and working with him and helping him out in different areas and to what it is today. And like today, you know, I do all his merchandise, I do his website, all like the digital strategy, social media, all that. A lot of social media deliverables for sponsors. Like I'll take care of all of that. And then we do the vlogs now. So I'm at a point where I do like 3 people's jobs in one.
Yes.
And I feel like I bring a lot of value to the table. And so that's made me feel like professionally fulfilled. And to be able to do it for him, you know, I mean, what more could you ask for? There's like such a purpose behind it.
Right. You feel fulfilled. It's rewarding.
Yeah.
It works for your guys' marriage. Like, I love that. It's
Yeah.
similar to why like I started a racing collection. Like I wanted to be able to travel and do stuff, but I've always loved like that other creative fashion side. And I love that you have turned your passions and you're like, okay, I'm going to help him in the best way I can. And now it's turned into all this.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the vlogs.
Okay.
Give me it. Give me how. So you guys started them like, give me some of the funniest moments, hardest things. Like, what has it been like for you guys? Because you did mention, like, you said you are introverted. So was that hard for you to want to do?
So it started, we were having dinner with a friend who she used to work for NASCAR, and we met up with her because she wanted to like give some tips and bits of what we could do to kind of share more of Daniel's story and who he is and put him out there. And I actually said, why don't we do a vlog? And she was like, oh, yeah, it's a great idea. So we actually did it for the very first race, the Clash, I guess, before the Daytona 500. And, you know, I bought the camera and like I started filming. I edited all myself.
That's incredible. Editing's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. And like I'm by no means a professional. I was all kind of self-taught, but we got so much great feedback from like the first few that we uploaded onto YouTube. And it was only meant to be really until the Mexico race. That was like our thing. Okay, we'll do the vlog most weekends until the Mexico race. But it was such good feedback that we're like, okay, we just got to keep doing it, you know? Like, I don't want to disappoint anyone.
Right.
And they were fun to do. It's a lot of work, though, because I will say I come into the race weekend and it's kind of like no downtime because I'm always like looking for like the moments.
You're
and
a
trying
producer.
to capture everything. And like as I'm filming, I'm already thinking, how am I going to edit this? So it's a lot, but it's really rewarding just to like get that feedback from people.
I was gonna say, I think it's really cool that you get to show a different side. I think, you know, people see our husbands and they just see, I always look at it as like when they're in their race suit, they're like a character, right? And that's the only side that people see. And so it's nice, like through social, that is the good part of social, is people kind of get to see the side that we get to see at home. And it makes them more relatable and human. And you're like, no, like, yes, they have bad days and yes, there might be bad moments, but they're really good people at the same time.
And you get to see like what they're like in the wild, you know, and there's not, so to speak, a camera in their face giving an interview, right? And one of the things too is a lot of people have asked me, well, why don't you like hire someone to edit it, you know? But I film so many things that are so many conversations and stuff that could get people into trouble that I really need to be the person editing it.
Okay,
you know?
That's a good point.
Because someone will say something and then they'll turn to me and be like, don't put that on the vlog.
Cut that out.
I'm like, I got you. I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. But it's great because they get to see Daniel's personality and it's a long episode. They're like 26, 28-minute episodes, so it takes a while. But like I'll wake up first thing on Monday morning, 6 a.m.
Start editing.
Like, I want to get this done, and it'll be up by like 2 p.m.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I know that takes a lot of work, and you constantly have to be thinking like, okay, how does this flow, and what do people want to see, and how do we keep it interesting?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to be filming the same thing every week.
Right.
So I take any feedback that's given. I have no like ego about it, but
Now you said you saw a really good response, but how do you and Daniel handle negativity that comes from social media? Because I think that's a big part of our lives.
I will say that the most amount of negativity comes from Twitter. And Daniel, while he's on Twitter, he's not like actively scrolling, checking comments and whatever. And I will say that because I manage his social medias and I keep an eye on everything, I will not hesitate to block anyone who
I love the block button. It's my favorite.
Love it. And I, I'm not going to block someone who just disagrees with him.
Correct.
Or,
but when they're
when it's like something really uncalled for, really harsh, like mean spirited, I'm like, block.
Yep.
Block.
Oh yeah. Back in Kyle's heyday, I used the block button an awful lot on my pages. People had a lot to say back then.
That's right.
Is there any like comment or anything that sticks out that like, have you ever went back at people?
Yes, sometimes. And Daniel will joke and say, why do you keep fighting clowns on Twitter? And I'm like, because they said something and it got under my skin. I have to say something back. But it'll always be from my account. I'm never like on his, like pretending to be him, But if it's something really, like one thing that always gets me is when someone makes fun of his English. And I'm like, you probably don't even speak more than one language, and you're making fun of someone who came to a whole new country, is learning a whole new language, and you're making fun of like you can't understand them. Like,
come on. Yeah. My dad came here from Italy. Same thing. Came here when he was 6, spoke 0 English, had to teach himself. Like, so I get it. Because there's still, my dad's 65 and he'll still be like, what's that word? What's the word for this?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because it's hard to learn a whole nother language.
Yeah. And really it just comes down to people being rude and what's the word? Like, I can't think of it, but just like not knowing any better.
Right. Ignorant about it.
Ignorant.
Yes.
Exactly. Like completely ignorant.
Well, and then you always think like, okay, if you go over to that culture, like how good are you going to do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Well, this does lead me into my whole 72 hours of learning Spanish real quick. So when Kyle had his mishap in Mexico and we had to call you guys, I was there by myself for the first 48 hours. And so I'm like going to the police station. Nobody speaks English. And I'm like, passports, I'm trying to communicate. And finally, like one of the gentlemen from the hotels ended up coming with me because I was like,
You're like, no hablo español.
But then by the third day, I had enough vocabulary to like tell them who I was, why I was here, and who I needed to see. And it was funny, our business manager by that time had arrived and he was like, when did you learn Spanish? And I was like, me and Google Translate have spent a lot of time together. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But
I remember that because we had just landed in, it wasn't Cabo, it wasn't Tulum. I'm losing my...
No, you weren't close to me because I was like praying that you were close enough to me, but we
weren't that close, but we were in Mexico. We had just landed in Mexico, and Daniel like turns on his phone and he was just like missed call after missed call, text messages.
He's like, what happened?
He's like, oh, I think Kyle's in trouble.
I know. And then you guys called and I just remember Daniel was like, are you okay? And I was like, not really. No, I'm in Cancun alone. I don't know what I'm doing here.
It must have been so scary. I can't imagine.
It was really scary for the fact that it was actually, and I can only talk about certain pieces for another like 6 months. But there is a lot of corruption that you see on the TV shows that is accurate. Mm-hmm. And I was not aware until I was in the middle of it that I was like, oh, this is how we do things. Oh, okay. Okay, I hear what we're not saying, but I see what we're saying right now. And that was kind of like, whoa. And then it was just hard with the language barrier, like that was really difficult because it's when you're at the resort, it's so easy. Yeah. Everybody, speaks both. But when you're in downtown Cancun and, like I remember I had to go to the Walmart because probably don't know, but in Mexican prison, it's not like America where they give you like bedding or food. Like you have to bring that every day. And I remember being in Walmart and trying to like ask where things were, and I was like, oh my gosh, like,
what am I gonna do?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do here right now. Oh my gosh. But we made it. One day we'll tell that story. And thank you all for calling.
Yeah, of course.
That's very nice of you guys.
You want some help?
I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, but fun times, good times. So that also leads me to ask, so I know like when Kyle goes back to Vegas, and this is not the same at all, but there's like this added, a little bit of pressure, right? Like it's his hometown track. How did you guys feel racing in Mexico City? Like, because I felt like that has to be a lot of pressure for Daniel and you guys to be there, right? Because, like, he's representing everyone, and people were so excited. We happened to be right on the grid with you guys, and it was, like, wild. Yes. There was so many people there for y'all. Like, does he and you guys enjoy that, or is there also, like, a slight bit of pressure, or is it also like, my gosh, like I know sometimes when Kyle goes to Vegas, there's so many extra obligations because it's his hometown. Yeah. So like, how did he feel about all that?
Well, so
and you
going back, I mean, there was a big lead up to the race, right? It wasn't just like getting there. Like we went to Mexico together several times to do different promotional activities, activations, to promote the race, and, personal sponsors and all kinds of stuff. So this was like a long time coming, right? And so, but to actually get there for the event itself, I mean, I felt a lot of pressure for him. I can't speak for him. I mean, a lot of people always ask me, does Daniel get nervous before a race? And I'm like, honestly, if he does, he doesn't show it. Like, he's always cool as a cucumber. Like, he's always in the right mindset. I'm sure there was extra pressure, obviously, for Mexico City, but he never shows it, but I was very nervous for him. I mean, there's so much at play, right? Like there's so much riding on that. I mean, he's racing in Mexico for the first time in like, I don't know how many years. It's all he's ever wanted to like come back to his home crowd. And it's actually the place where he like got his first win ever, different configuration.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And then everything leading up during the weekend, like he had this like grand welcome at the racetrack. There's like hundreds and hundreds of press and media and filming crew. And we had like a documentary people like
That's
following
amazing.
us the whole weekend. So like I felt the pressure for him, and obviously winning in the Xfinity series. It's funny, we're talking about this now because this morning I woke up and I was just like, on Twitter, and I saw a video from when he won, and I started like going down a rabbit hole of looking at different YouTube videos, and like I get goosebumps every time I think about it because it's so like magical. Like you couldn't have scripted it any better to like crash in qualifying and like come back in a backup car. I mean, they were singing the national anthem for the Xfinity race, and they were like rolling the car onto the grid because it took them up to the last minute to like get it fixed. Or to prepare the backup car. So,
yeah, it was like a storybook ending.
Yeah. I mean, it's so much so that half the people on Twitter were like, it was rigged. I'm like,
of course.
Sure.
Of course. All the other drivers just moved out of the way. They didn't want to win that race. They didn't want to get the paycheck.
Exactly.
Oh, no, it was really cool. I actually loved Mexico City. I took the day during the Xfinity race, and I just went roaming like on my own, and it was such a welcoming, such an incredible city. My favorite part was I was in that, I think it's like the Roma Norte area, like with all the vintage shops. And I asked this girl in the vintage shop, I said, where's the best spot for lunch? And she was like, you go down the corner, you'll see it's absolutely packed. Because I was like in a college town. And I just went in and I sat at the bar, and it was a lot of college kids. So some people spoke absolutely no English and some did, like both. And I sat there and I ate there by myself for 2 hours and talked with everybody around me. Like it was such a cool experience that I was like, I loved it. Like,
yeah, it's a great city.
It was amazing. Yeah. Like I can't wait to go back because I don't know, just now I'm like, okay, I saw that part. I want to go see this part.
Yeah.
And the people were just so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally was sitting there. You might know what they are. There's this like little jar and it had these little red things in it. And you take them out and you like crush them up. And so I was about to put one on my food because I was watching other people do it and I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, okay.
That was probably spicy as hell.
This guy leans over and he was like 2 over from me and he looks at me and he was like, no. And he was like, do not eat that. Like, if you are not ready for that, he was like, that is like the hottest thing that you can consume.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, thank you. I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm about to spoil my whole meal.
Yes. So I don't know. I loved going there. Let's be honest, some of my best stories start with, so I had a drink, and spiral from there, which is exactly why Big Rack Spirits feels like the unofficial sponsor of every unfiltered moment on this podcast. Whether it's the East Coast Cooler, Trailblazing Tangerine, or Rosie's Pink Lemonade, they make flavored vodka that goes down easier than your latest situationship. It's all natural, super smooth, and honestly, dangerous in the best way. No fake flavors, no mixers needed. Just pour, sip, and overshare. And maybe cry, obnoxiously laugh, definitely regret saying it all out loud. But hey, at least it was entertaining. Oh, and they're not just out here making delicious chaos in a bottle. Big Rack gives back too. Military charities, breast cancer foundations, real impact with every pour. So if you're gonna tell on yourself, you might as well do it with a drink that's worth it. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. Obviously, Daniel is, he was with Trackhouse, and that is no longer. That's how Kyle and I were with JGR, and it's hard. It's really hard. Like, I don't think people understand. I know that people's job it's their job, but I feel like also, especially when you're in racing, it is our lives, right? Like, we travel all the time. You miss stuff for it. How has that been for you guys? Because I know when it happened to Kyle and I, it's difficult. It's difficult on the whole family.
Yeah. I mean, it's never easy. We talked about this just a little bit before we began, but like we've been through this before. I remember we were in my apartment in Miami at the time. This was November 2019 or maybe October 2019. I was sitting with Daniel on the couch when he got the call from Stuart Haas that he wasn't going to be back. So, and that was maybe, I would say, even more stressful because he didn't have the wins at the time. It was so late into the season that you're kind of like in panic mode to try and figure out what's next. But, and I can speak for Daniel when I say this, that this time around, we've had this like sense of everything is going to be all right. Like, everything is going to work out one way or another. Maybe we don't know what that is right now, but it's going to be okay. I know it's going to work itself out because like this isn't like the end. This can't be the end. He's got so much more to give and he has such an incredible story behind him. This can't be the end, right? Some way it's going to work out. And so all I can do is, to be there to support him and to give him guidance when and if he needs it. And, just do my best to be a shoulder for him to lean on.
They're cheerleaders during this. I mean, it's definitely hard. And, I think not to speak to your guys' situation, but for us, it's the unknown that's kind of scary. And it's the same, like, they have so much talent and so much that you're like, you want them to keep going and to have that success. And I don't know. I just wish you guys the best.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I get it. We've been there.
I get nervous. A lot of people ask me, do you get nervous before a race? And I say yes, but not because I'm scared that he's going to get hurt, but because I want him to do well.
Yes.
I want him to maximize his potential. I want things to work out. I want people to see like the talent that he has in him. Like, I just want him to succeed so badly. That's why I get nervous, So,
though I do have to back up. Daytona and Talladega, I hate those places. I hate those tracks so much. They scare the living out of me.
Well, I hate Bristol, so yeah. So welcome to the group.
I always joke with Brexton because Brexton, I mean, it's funny that you come from a Formula One background because I'm like, buddy, let's go Formula One racing. Mommy would love to go to Monaco. And like, I've done Talladega and Martinsville for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, let's go Formula One racing. And he's like, no, I want to race NASCAR. I want to be a NASCAR driver. And so I always joke. I'm like, okay, for those races, I'm going to send a note to NASCAR that says my mom says, like a doctor's note, my mom says I can't race these. Put a different driver in. I always look at Kim Burton and I'm like, it's one thing to watch your husband out there. I can't. Like you will see me at Brexton if he ever runs Daytona and Talladega. I will be so heavily medicated that you're gonna like wheelchair me out there because I'm like, I don't know how you would sit and watch that.
I can't even imagine.
No, like my heart right now is racing thinking about my baby there. Like I can't. I'm also like an Italian mom, so you know that doesn't help anyone. But I also want to talk too because people probably don't know, but your guys' old bus driver is now our bus driver.
That's right, Tom.
Tom is the best, and it's funny because we talk about you often. You probably don't know this, but Tom will like call from Whole Foods and be like, hey, so Julia used to get this. Would you like me to get this for you because you have a nutrition background? And I'm like, yes, Tom. Or he'll say something. He was like, well, I used to buy this because Julia said that we can't have this because of X, Y, and Z.
He's like, it has to be pasture-raised eggs, not cage-free. Hey, I taught him well. You're welcome, okay?
Thank you. And Tom is like the best. And it's funny. He was like, I found a local farmer's market to get meat from. It was killed right there. And I was like, yes, Tom. So thank you. But I would love to talk about, you know, the degree you got, how that all came about, and just kind of hear that story about you.
Yeah. So I've always been interested in nutrition in general, health, physical activity. Coming from Brazil, you know, there's a culture of being healthy. Like kids will start working out when they're like 14 years old. Like
Really?
I remember being in high school and I would go to the gym after school was over, or I'd do horseback riding, or, you know. So also I had at the time, my stepmom, my father's wife, was like super healthy, like abs of steel, like, so it was always like just around me, this like healthy image. And so I was always very interested, wanted to know more about it. And, you know, throughout the years, I've, you know, read a lot up on different topics and food and what's good and what's not. And in 2020, well, end of 2020, sort of along 2021, I think it was, I said, I want to maybe, because that was at the time when I was like, what am I going to do professionally, right? So I thought, I had this idea. I was like, maybe I'm going to be like a health coach. So I found this course online. I took it, I think it was 2022 maybe, that I did the whole year. It was online. You know, you had like classes every week, live classes, tests, whatever. And then ended up getting my certified as a health coach. And so I've been helping Daniel a lot with his food ever since I met him, actually. He thought he was eating healthy. I was like, yeah, you might want to swap this for that, and like take away the cereal, and, you know. And then in beginning of 24, I think it was, I had an IndyCar driver reach out to me, Scotty McLaughlin. And, you know, I think we were following each other on Instagram because we have like friends in common, but he reached out and he's like, hey, I heard, I think it was like from Ryan Blaney. He's like, I heard that you're a health coach and I'm, you know, trying to lose weight and better my eating ahead of the season. And he's like, would you help me? And I was like, holy shit, I have my first client.
Yes.
I was like, I can't breathe, Daniel. So I literally, like, within like a few weeks, I like built out my course of like what I wanted to do with him and what we were going to talk about and how it was all going to go, what I'm going to like price it at and all that. And we did. We worked together for like 4 months, and he lost the weight that he needed to lose. He like really like overhauled his eating habits. I actually went to his house once and we like went through all of his pantry, and I was like, this is good, this is not good, throw this in the trash. And it was so funny because I think it was their first race of the season. I think it was St. Petersburg, I actually got a shout out on the broadcast.
Oh, that's
like,
amazing.
During the race, the guy was like, talking about Scotty, and he's like, and by the way, Scotty told me that he's got a health coach, Julia Piquet, and this and that. And I was like, oh, wait, we were like in the holler watching it live, and I was like, oh my God,
me, I did it.
I was like, guys, turn it up. So that was a really, really cool moment. But since then, honestly, it slowed down, partly because I've been so busy with all of Daniel's stuff, and also because I don't know, I just never kind of like put in the time to carry it forward. Maybe at some point in the future I'll find the right time to do that, but like I've always, friends will always come to me and ask for advice, and what are you doing, and should I eat this, and should I not, and how do I cook it, and so it's cool, it's a part of my everyday life.
Well, inadvertently, you have coached us through our home driver, so much appreciated. Now, if you're comfortable talking about it, I did see on some other things that you had talked about in the past, you did have an eating disorder, or
yeah.
Are you comfortable talking about it? Okay.
Sure, yeah. So I don't want to like self-diagnose myself, because I've never had a doctor tell me you have this, but what happened was when I moved to the U.S. the first time, the food in the U.S. is very different from the food in Europe, from the food in Brazil, and it was a quality of food that my body was not used to. So, you know how people gain like the freshman 15?
Yep.
I packed on like the freshman 20. And not because I was like eating any differently, but just how my body was reacting
processing it. Yeah.
Yeah, the processed foods, the seed oils, like just the quality in general. And I'd always been the kind of person that I felt great about my body. I was confident. And I like lost that in my first year in the US. I was like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? I didn't really know what to do, how to eat differently, because I'd never really had to work for it in the past. It was just eating good foods and being very active. So I got together with a nutritionist, and his wife was actually a bodybuilder, and I became really good friends with her, and we started working out together, and I was getting coaching on my nutrition from this coach. But he had implemented this rule that you have to like eat what I tell you to eat during the week, and you have one cheat meal. And I like hyper focused on this cheat meal so much, because I was so, when I do things, I do them or I don't. There's no like halfway. So I was like, by the paper, like everything he told me, I'm like measuring, weighing, like doing all the things. But I had this one cheat meal, and I was like obsessing over this cheat meal. Like every week I was like, what am I gonna eat? Like I'm craving all these things. I would literally like go out and buy everything I wanted to eat, come home and like devour it. And that created a compulsion, I guess, of binging on foods that I really wanted to. So I would like, even after I stopped working with them, I'd try and be good, but then when I had my so-called cheat meal, I would like go overboard, like to the point where like I would make myself so sick, like I couldn't even move. And then it became that it wasn't even about the cheat meal. It was just once in a while, if I was too like hard on myself, or I'd been good for so long, that would be like a release for me. And I looked up like what binging was, or binge eating disorder was, and I found myself doing all the things that it was described as. And it was just, how do I get out of this
how did
rut?
you overcome that?
Wasn't like a night to day thing. And I would say that now and then I will still like get the impulse to want to do it, but just trying not to be so hard on myself and trying not to be so strict, because I know that the stricter I am, then the more I want to binge. So to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, I'm fully cured, like we're good. Like I still get like the want to once in a while. I just, I try to distract myself. The other thing is that when you like binge, you don't tend to do it around other people. It's more like, it's in like private. A shameful thing, right? So you do it in private. So it's great that I have like Daniel around all the time, because he also like helps keep me in check, even though he like doesn't really fully understand it.
No, I think this is great advice for other women out there, though, who might be battling something that, it is a process. It's not something that you can just flip a switch and it's better, and that you kind of have to consciously tell yourself, like, this is okay. And, and Daniel holds you accountable. So I think those are all really good tips for maybe somebody else listening who has battled the same.
Yeah, and I wish I had a better advice coming in here. I mean, I do the things that I know are going to make me feel good, because I know if I feel good, then I'm less likely to, right? So I keep myself accountable. I do my workouts. Like,
what kind of workouts do you like?
I'll do just like functional fitness workouts, and they're not long. I mean, they're 30 minutes. It's this girl called Rachel Fitness. She actually, when I went to Barry's boot camp in Miami, she was like the
instructor
there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then in COVID, she started doing like her own thing, and she does like these Instagram live classes at like 6:30 in the morning. And I started doing that, and I've never looked back. Like, I've been doing them for 5 years now, and like, she holds me accountable. It's 30 minutes, so it's like you're in, you're out. You don't even have to think about it. You show up, you do it, and before you know it, it's over. And I think that consistency is more important than, I've been at the gym for an hour and a half. You know, like, and I think another thing too is lifting weights is way more important than doing cardio.
I'm a weights girl. Yeah. Cardio is actually where I completely struggle. I can't run unless I'm being chased. Like, don't even ask me. I feel bad. They always do like the 5Ks for like the MRO and stuff. And
You're like, I'm busy.
Can I walk? Can I walk real? Can I be the last one?
Yeah.
I can't run. But when you find something you love, like, I think that's important for people. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people that. I'm like, everybody doesn't love the same stuff. Like, you couldn't pay me to do yoga at this point in my life. I just sit there and it has the opposite effect. I think constantly. And I'm like, this is not helping me at all.
Yeah.
But for some people, yoga is like the greatest thing ever. I think everybody, you just have to like find what works for you.
Yeah. 100%.
And it changes over time too.
It does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. What is something, and you don't have to share it, and it might take you a minute to think about, but this is Certified Oversharer. So what is something that maybe people don't know about you, or that you haven't talked about before?
Oh my God.
I know. I can come back to it if you want.
I have, not all the time, but at times I have like crippling anxiety.
Really?
Like, first of all, I'm an introvert, right? And especially when it's around people I don't really know, or, and I think that is part of it. But like, if I have to be on a Zoom call, I mean, I will stress about it. Like, the day before, I'm like overthinking it. Like, and then like the hour before the Zoom call, I mean, you have no idea. Like, I'm like crippling anxiety.
Really?
But then once I get on the call,
you're golden.
Yeah. It's like nothing ever happens. Like 10 seconds into the call, I'm like, I got this. I'm good. It's just like the lead up to it.
The anticipation of it.
Anticipation. It's insane. I get more nervous for a Zoom call than I do for like Daniel's races.
That's crazy.
Right? And then the other thing too is I'm not the kind of person to talk on the phone.
Oh, I hate the phone.
But like, it gives me way too much anxiety. Like, if I have to like call to make a reservation at a restaurant or call valet to get my car, like, that's one thing. But if it's like someone I kind of know or know, again, it's that anxiety leading up to the call. Like, I can't. I'd rather write an email, send a text, even send a voice note.
Like, I'll send you a handwritten note before that.
Daniel will be like, can you call so-and-so and talk about that? I'm like, can I just send an email?
You're like, please don't make me do that.
He's like, why? And it's so funny because he's so great at phone calls. He'll talk to a rock. Like,
he is so personable.
He's so personable. And I'm like, email's my thing. Like, I will write the greatest email ever. Like, I'll write it for you. And he's like, why? Why are you like that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I can't.
I think an introvert and an extrovert somehow always find each other, though.
I think so. Because he's like, definitely an extrovert.
Yeah, and Kyle's definitely like an introvert. Like, he has to be an extrovert to like do his interviews and stuff, but he is perfectly content being at home, where I'm like, who are we going to go see? Where are we going?
Yeah,
what can we do
today? Yeah.
It's actually funny that you talk about introvert, extrovert. When you guys had that party in Mexico City afterwards, well, Kyle was in a very bad mood because we wrecked at like lap 1. Yeah. But I really wanted to go because I love a party, and I had
That
a
was a good
dress.
party too, I have to say.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
a great party.
We were on the bus with a couple of the drivers to go home the next day, and they're all talking about it, and I was like seething sitting next to Kyle because he was like, let's just watch a show and go to bed. I don't really want to talk to anybody. And I was like, okay, but the race ended like 8 hours ago, and there's nothing we can do. And
Get over it.
I have a really great dress, and I never get to go out, and the kids aren't with us. And I was like, and he was just like, I don't want to. And I was like, darn it.
Damn,
And
next time call me. We'll just pick you
I know,
up.
I was
You'll
like, can
come
somebody
with
just
us.
come get me? I was like, I'm going to save that dress.
That was really good.
But yeah, I always feel like an introvert and an extrovert find each other.
Yeah.
No, Daniel has always, going back to him, been so sweet to Brexton. Like, he makes a point to like say hi to him on pit road, and like Brexton thinks that's so cool.
Aww.
Like him, like John Hunter, Ricky, like they always like shoot the shit with Brex, like, oh, how's your race? And he just thinks that's like the neatest thing.
I love that. And Daniel loves you because obviously Kyle and Daniel were teammates, and I don't have many friends like in the Cup Garage, and he always tells me, he's like, you would be like Samantha, and you guys would really get along. And he always tells me that, and I'm like,
well, I'm the extrovert, so I'll invite you to things.
I'm up for adoption, but I'm not usually the first person to like reach out. So if she wants to adopt me, I'm here. And I'm kidding.
No, I will reach out. No, it's funny. People always ask, they're like, who do you hang out with in the garage? I'm like, dude, I'm a mom. Like, I don't do anything but like go to my kids' races, find activities, or work. Like and that would be nice. Like you just told me you live 13 minutes away. I'm like, please come for a walk with me, because sometimes I just need the sanity of like getting out of the house for a minute. Do you remember though? Do you remember when we saw you guys at Nobu in Chicago? What my son said to Brexton? Or what Brexton said to Daniel.
Wait, I remember he said something because like we talked about it after, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
So for everyone listening, we're at Nobu. It's sushi, and me and Kyle and Brex are sitting there. So Brexton's like favorite thing is sushi. He is like my bougie kid, and it's funny because we'll take him out and he'll like try to devour like 10 plates of yellowtail, and we're like, boy, this is not cookout. Like slow your roll right now.
It's like $20 a sashimi.
Please stop. Like I literally told Kyle, like the next time we take him, we're gonna feed him dinner and then take him to Nobu. But you guys walked in, and he just looked at Daniel. He goes, I only thought you eat Mexican food. And
I was
God,
like, that's right.
Preston. And he was like, no, what? Why? And I was like, and we like tried to explain like at dinner like different cultures to him. He's like, I just thought he'd eat Mexican food.
He's like, Mexicans eat Mexican food. I'm sorry.
He was legitimately so confused. But when it came out of his mouth, I was like, Brexton. And Kyle's like, it's Daniel. He doesn't care. And I was like,
that's right.
Brexton, you don't say things like that. And he was like, well, I don't understand it. And so we had like a whole, I was like, buddy, Pops is Italian. He eats other things besides pasta. And he was like, oh yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh.
I have, I would think you would think it's an interesting story about how I once tried to reach out to another wife or girlfriend, let's say, and it like kind of backfired at me, and I was like, I'm never reaching out again. Like that was it. That was my introvert, like way introvert now. Like
please, do tell.
So you're
like, I'm gonna drink first.
Oh. So this was a few years ago. I was in Brazil at the time. This was like off season, and I was following her on Instagram. She was following me, but I don't think I've ever had an exchange with her before. And I was looking at people's stories, and then her story popped up, and she said it was written something like, oh, I have a wedding in like a week or a few days, and I don't know what to wear. And I think she was saying something like, does anyone, like, can I borrow anything, or something along the lines of. And so I replied to her story, and I was like, hey, I'll be back in Charlotte tomorrow if you want. When I get home, I have a few dresses. If you want, I can show you if you're interested in any of them. And she replied back. She's like, oh, sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. Whatever. So I get back to Charlotte, and I send her no less than like 12 dresses. I send her a picture of the dress hanging, a picture of me wearing the dress if I had it, just so she could see what it looked like on the body. And if I didn't have that, like a picture of like a celebrity or, on the mannequin, like
you
that
basically
I found
were
online.
Like stylist level.
No,
for
I went like all out. And these were like nice dresses, like not Forever 21 stuff. These were like nice
Yeah.
dresses. And so anyway, send her all the pictures through DM. And then I said, I tried to pick, because I think at the time I was a little bit heavier, and I was like, hey, I tried to look for dresses that were a little bit smaller that I thought would fit you. Let me know if you like any of them. If you want, like, I could even meet you somewhere if you wanted to try some of them on. You can like take
It's
them
like the
home,
nicest
whatever.
thing ever.
Like I thought it was pretty nice.
It was very nice.
It was pretty nice. She left me on red, and I was like, I started overthinking the whole thing, and I was like, was this too much? Like, because I don't even like know her. Like, we follow each other on Instagram, but you know, I'm also not a complete stranger. I mean, like,
right.
She knows who I am. And like, just like left me on red. And I figured we were going to the same wedding.
Oh wait, you guys are gonna see each other too?
Well, she never specified whose wedding she was going to, but I also had a wedding in a few days, so I thought, it's probably the same wedding.
Yeah.
So she left me on red, and I was like, man, that's maybe
it's odd.
But then I thought, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, maybe she just forgot, right? People forget. I'm lousy about replying to people by text message, like, so I get it. So I show up at the wedding, and sure enough, it's the same wedding. And I think I'm in a small huddle. It's like Daniel, myself, I think it was like Corey LaJoy, and like a few other people. And out of the corner of my eye, I see her like walking in with the person she was dating. And she was wearing this beautiful red dress. And so as she's like getting closer, like I turn around, she sees me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful dress.
Like,
She's
you found one.
Yeah, I was like, great. I mean, you look great. She's like, oh, thank you. And then she was like, in passing, she was like, oh, and thanks for sending the dresses, and like kind of just like kept on walking.
You're like,
And I was like,
you didn't respond.
I was like, oh my gosh. Like, if she'd forgotten to reply to DM, totally fine. But then when you see me at the wedding,
Yeah,
be
and
like, oh my God, Julia.
Like, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was so nice of you. I'm so sorry I forgot to answer. I ended up finding a dress, whatever.
Yeah, just something
Water
like
under
that.
the bridge. We wouldn't even be talking about this right now. But I was like,
That is so odd.
and I like overthought the whole thing for like a week. I was like, I put myself out there, and like it was too much. Maybe I like came across as needy.
I'm always too much, so don't worry. You can never be too much because I'm always too
Did I
much.
do something wrong? Like,
No, it's you're telling the story, and I'm like mentally trying to go through my brain to try to figure out who it is. You don't have to tell me.
for the longest time, I was like, I wish I was like a fly in their mind to like understand.
Well, just to be decent and be like, hey, girl, like, thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and your day to send me all that. Like, found something, appreciate you.
Listen, it takes a lot to offend me, but I was a little offended by that. So that was me putting myself out there. Now I no longer do that.
You're like, no, thank you.
I'm for adoption. If someone wants to be friends with me, even though Daniel says this all the time, I have a resting bitch face. I'm very, once you approach me, I'm very nice. Like, I don't, I'm.
Wait, people always do that, especially in the heyday of like when Kyle, people, like random people would come up to me and like after they'd see me somewhere or talk to me, they'd be like, I thought you were such a bitch. I'm like, why? He might be the mean one, but I'm not the mean one of this group.
By association.
But that was like a common thing for people to come up, or even like girls who had just kind of gotten into the sport. They'd be like, I assumed you were a bitch. I'm like, do I give that vibe off? Like, I feel like I don't. Like,
I feel like, well, not that I think I give off that vibe, but I am aware that like, I have a bit of a resting bitch face, so maybe people don't think I'm like that approachable, but like, and I try to work on it. Like, believe you me, when I'm like walking down the road, I'm like,
you're on pit road, like, hello.
I'm like, oh, I gotta put a
welcome.
smile on it. Like, I look too mean.
See, I think people don't approach me anymore because I just like overshare and like ask people questions or say things that are like, Kyle will stand there and he's like, shut. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you can't ask strangers that. I'm like, why? I wouldn't be offended if people asked me that. He's because other people are offended. Please stop asking that. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's literally how the podcast started. Literally, we were at Brexton's race, and I've told this story on here before. This lady came up to me to compliment a recipe that she had seen me make, and she made it, and she loved it, and it happened to be with red meat, which I had started eating again, and therefore my periods are somewhat back. Clear as day. Just met this lady. I was like, do you find your periods are like maybe heavier or more regular? And Kyle's standing there and he's like,
you're like, what's the consistency?
yeah, what's your flow
is
like?
it,
What color is it? Like, tell me about it. And this lady was like, no, and she got like all stuttering. And I don't know why I didn't mean to make her feel uncomfortable, but I was just so excited to have a period again that I was like, tell me about it.
Yeah.
How long? And like,
it's funny how like different people will get kind of weird about things where like I have no issues talking about period stuff or like it's but
you don't want to get not on a phone call. You're not going to do it on a phone call.
Not on a Zoom, not on a phone call. Nope.
Oh no, people always ask me, I don't know, like with my older age, I'm like, I guess I've just lost all my filter, but I am like a girl's girl. I'm like, let's talk about it. It's great. But that's why Kyle, like I started a podcast because he was standing there and he was like, why are you doing this?
You're like, well, I can't tell her. I'll tell the rest of the world.
Yeah, I was like, so everybody comment. Let me know about your periods. Final question. I think this would be a good one to end with. When you think of your guys' next chapter, like what does that look like for you guys? Do you have a plan, or is it just take it one day at a time?
I'm the kind of person that I take it one day at a time. Are you trying to get into whether we want kids or not?
No, I will never ask people that question because we struggled so hard. Just more like, do you guys see yourself staying in racing? Do you see yourself maybe doing your health coaching? Is there anything else that's been on your mind that you're like, I really want to pursue this? Or is there anything like, I know you guys went camping and stuff that you're like, in the next chapter, want to travel more, like anything like that?
To be honest, I want Daniel to race for as long as he can. I hope that he has as long of a career or more as your husband does. And I love it. I love it for him. And I know that he has big goals that he wants to achieve. And I would love to see him race until he's like 45. And I would love to be able to have kids where they're able to be of a certain age that they will remember watching their father race. Mm-hmm. I would love nothing more than that.
What do you think, just talking about you though, like you seem to have this real knack for like producing and editing and doing all that. Like, do you ever see that growing? Because you're obviously very talented at it and people love it.
Thank you. Not unless it's for Daniel or for my own enjoyment. Because like I told you, it's one thing to do it for your husband where you have like skin in the game and you have this purpose. You want to show the world who he is and share his story and all of that. But then like do something for someone else where there's not that much of a purpose.
It doesn't feel as authentic.
It doesn't feel as authentic. It's not like everything I do for Daniel doesn't feel like work.
Right.
We have a common goal. We know what we want to achieve, and I wouldn't necessarily do that for anyone else. And I hope that I'm able to work with him for as long as he races.
Is there a dream? So like you guys more so than like say Kyle and I travel the world, right? Like, so for me traveling's so big because we don't get to go outside of like racetracks. Mm-hmm. Is there anywhere that you guys are like, this is a bucket list for us, or like we really want to go there?
Well, our bucket list for the longest time was going to Japan, and we went for our honeymoon last year, end of November. We were there for almost 3 weeks, and that was like hands down one of the most amazing trips we've ever done. So that we definitely checked off our bucket list. I would love to take Daniel, or take myself too, because I've never been on a safari in Africa.
My friends just did that. They loved it.
I've heard incredible things, and there's Africa's huge. There's so many different places you can go based on like what kind of animals you want to see and what you want to focus on. And I would love to do that because we like love nature. We love going camping, and like we're big animal people. And I love going to the beach. He's not a beach person.
Really?
Like,
what is he?
He's more like outdoorsy, goes on a hike, loves to be in the mountains, like keep busy. Like Daniel, you gotta keep it moving.
That's like, how I'm like a mover.
Yeah. Daniel, like if you want him to sit by the pool for like an hour, like he will not do that. He's gotta like, keep it moving. What's next? He's a little bit of ADHD, I think. I don't know. So I think the safari would be like great for him. I think he would love it. I think I would love it.
That's funny that you mentioned that though. That's how Kyle and I are like, well, we try to take like, because we don't want to leave the kids too long, so like 3 or 4 days. But we did a beach thing, and like every hour I was like, let's go swimming. Should we go for a walk? Do you want to go for a hike? Do you want to do like Pilates? He was like, I don't. I'm real good right here. But
so I'm Kyle in the relationship, basically.
I will say Kyle's like, listen, you give up everything because obviously Kyle races, but Brex races 2-3 times more than Kyle. He ran 150 races last year. That's not counting testing, anything. So Kyle was like, fine, if you want to go walk 9 million times and go on this awful hike, like, we will go do that.
Knock yourself out.
No, so he's really good. He's like, I will go with you because I subject you to living at every racetrack in America. So
that's nice. You guys got a good balance.
Yes, so he's good about that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like I learned so much. I think I'm most excited to know that you live by me and that I feel like I'm comfortable enough now to like
I
text
know when
you
I
and be
opened
like,
up the address, I'm like, I wonder if this is her house because like it's pretty close.
yeah,
It's cool.
no, like, please come walking with me, or like, let's go work out. That'd be great.
That's
so
awesome.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing everything.
Of course.
And I'll see you this weekend.
Absolutely.
That was so fun. Thank you so much, Julia, for coming on, teaching me how to cheers in Spanish. And also, the only thing I'm sitting here thinking about is who is the girl who did not DM you back after you nicely shared dresses with her. So that's going to be on my mind all night. Thank you guys all for listening in. And I want to say thank you so much for following along on all of our social medias at Cert Oversharer. I think it's so cool to get to interact with you guys, hear what you loved about an episode, what you want to hear more of. And I so love when you come on there and overshare with me. So give me all the girly, gory details. I want to know it all. Also, be sure to check us out on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, send it to your mom, send it to your sister, send it to your best friend, because I promise you the things that we talk about, somebody in your life is probably going through them and just doesn't feel comfortable oversharing yet. So what I love about this podcast is it really opens up these conversations for people to have. And always, please be sure to check us out on wherever you get your podcasts. Take care.